I'm sorry, what? Hey folks, MasakoX here. Now, I'm not usually known for doing this type of content, but while I was at SunnyCon over the weekend, and if you were there by the way, I hope you had a really good weekend and a resumption to normal convention standards, and it was also good to see you too. It was a bit of downtime, and then I came across this, whilst I was trying to find more news about our boy Raditz, and this ruined my evening. Sleep couldn't have come soon enough. After all the things we've had about Bardock, this just tipped me over the edge. And I know it's Screenrant before you say anything in the comments that, oh, they make this kind of content all the time. And I have LinkedIn, I get loads of notifications saying there are job openings for content writers for Screenrant, and I'm half tempted to apply, but I don't think they'll accept my application after this. Dragon Ball Super hints Bardock actually learned Ultra Instinct before Goku. Immediately. I fell for this. I fell for this a lot. I've read the actual article briefly. I've censored the author's name because I don't want to be mean to the person, because that's not what I'm here for. I'm just here to bring to you why Screenrant relentlessly pumps out content. I know I pump out content all the time, but haven't I? We plan. This is kind of really off the cuff, and this is a bit off the cuff. I recognize the irony. So let's go ahead and actually look at this properly and explain why. I wouldn't say it's necessarily wrong, but I would say it's misguided. So I'm going to try and steer this into something that might be a little bit more pliable, or at least it's not going to make your head explode. Dragon Ball Super hints Bardock actually learned Ultra Instinct before Goku. I'm glad it doesn't say the word confirmed, so that's something. They're learning. They're learning. Bardock Ultra Instinct. I know that it's not Goku exclusive, but already that just makes my head hurt slightly. Goku's new Ultra Instinct form in Dragon Ball Super Chapter 85 and his father Bardock's mysterious transformation are too alike to ignore. Was it a mysterious transformation? I thought it was just a regular power-up. Although, mind you, I do remember a lot of people were going like, no, don't turn Super Saiyan, no, don't turn Super Saiyan, remember the episode of Bardock, no! Fortunately, that didn't happen. It was just him getting pumped up. It was Saiyan pride, actually. So I don't think it was anything to do with Ultra Instinct, but let's actually read it. Spoilers ahead for Chapter 85, by the way, so just so you know. I mean, we probably have all read the chapter, by the way. The juxtaposition of Goku's newest Ultra Instinct form and his father Bardock's mysterious transformation during each of their battles against the villain Gas create the impression that Bardock actually learnt Ultra Instinct before his son did in Dragon Ball Super. Now, I don't think this is the case, really. Again, it's all to do with Bardock realizing that, hey, I don't like to lose, so I'm gonna win now, okay? Okay, we cool. Gas really is not used to losing, and that's why he got in a flap during the Bardock Gas fight, because he was going up against a worthy adversary, and he didn't like it. He was having a little bit of a tantrum before Elect came along and said, hey, Gas, don't do that. Don't do that. We saw the same thing here in Chapter 85. It was basically, you could boil this all down to Goku's just acting like his dad, and he's fighting the same guy that fought his dad. There is a connection. Doesn't really matter what kind of power levels there are. It's just relatives fighting on a relative basis. It's all a matter of perspective, really. How Goku learned Ultra Instinct himself already required impossible events to actually transpire. That is true, the adversity with Jiren. The wielder of Ultra Instinct who eventually taught Goku how to summon the ultimate technique is always in the presence of Dragon Ball's God Beerus, who rarely shows himself to mortals except to destroy their worlds. Okay, that's fair enough, Beerus. That's his job. He doesn't actually just go about the place socializing, or he's not supposed to. But mind you, we know he has a bit of a sweet tooth in he and we, so he's probably frequenting loads of bars, having food on the way. Because I imagine he'd want to stop off on the way home. The only reason why Beerus and in turn Whis initially came to Earth in the first place was because of a dream the god of destruction had Bao Super Saiyan God. Fine. And after discovering that one of the few remaining Saiyans was a mortal named Goku, proceeded to meet him. So it's giving the basis about battle of gods, that's fine. From that moment on, however, the lives of Goku and everyone else on Earth were in immediate jeopardy due to the absurd whims of the God, who could be persuaded to destroy anything, even entire planets. So this is kind of building things up to the actual comment we're about to see later. In the end, Earth's delicacies were initial what? So yeah, food. Food saved the day, because this is Dragon Ball, of course it does. But okay, here's the kicker. In Chapter 85 of Dragon Ball Super, the moment when Goku attains his own version of Ultra Instinct, his opponent Gas is clearly shocked. Well, that really happens because Goku just goes with Omen, and it's not really that much of a shock, to us at least, because the whole point is that Goku's just going, you know what, I don't really feel like using the gray or silver thing anymore. I'm really in a bad headspace at the moment, so I'm gonna just use what I'm familiar with. He's just using sign, and remember, he now knows, thanks to his training with Whis, to pick and choose different elements of Ultra Instinct to work with any transformation, even with the regular Super Saiyan or even in base. He's just going, okay, I'm just making this now. He can do that, it's Goku. Remember in the original Dragon Ball, he came up with the Kamehameha, he was able to do it after seeing it once. So we know that Goku can do that. He's just now doing what we already know he can do. That wasn't really a surprise. Then continues saying, it's clear what disturbs the villain based on how Goku's new form is juxtaposed immediately against the mysterious transformation that Goku's father Bardock attained during his fight with Gas not so long ago. Well, if you look already here, this thing kind of puts that argument to bed because it's just his kid. It's just Bardock's boy, and he's just mirroring what Bardock did. And also, it doesn't help that Goku was privy to their fight via Scouter, so of course he's going to be influenced by that battle because he heard it go down. He's just acting the same way because he's his boy. That's the main reason. It's nothing to do with powers. It's just Goku's going like, you know what, I'm gonna win now, okay? We cool. Aside from the stunning juxtaposition, that is pretty cool, by the way. We could have done with 2 chapters less of this, but okay. Both forms are quite How? The whole point, Ultra Instinct Sign or Omen's hair doesn't really change. It gets a little bit shimmery. It's like Goku just put some hair product in there or something, just not the gel, but he's just done a really nice conditioner. Neither Goku nor Bardock's hair changes color, save for a few areas getting lighter hue. Okay, fair. While the only portion of hair that actually stands up on end is the middle, similar to a mohawk, but nowhere near as extreme. These similarities create the unbelievable impression that Bardock must have somehow unlocked the same version of Ultra Instinct before his son would in the present day. Now, this is where the article falls apart for me, because it's just going like, well, okay, how? How does he know this? Just saying he must have somehow unlocked the same version. How do you... No, that's not how it works. Back in the day, if a Saiyan went through that whole thing, they just go Super Saiyan. That's what Goku did back in the Namek saga when Krillin blew up. He didn't go Ultra Instinct then, he went Super Saiyan. The whole point was that Bardock just tapped into his Saiyan pride and realized, hey, that's the only way I'm going to win. And that's what was really cool about that, despite Bardock being dragged out time and time again in this saga. At least that was kind of cool to see Bardock being gnarly and go like, I'm not gonna back down, I'm going to win this. Be like Wario, I'm a Bardock, I'm a gonna win. Essentially. This is a rather shocking revelation if true, because it implies that Bardock had to have met the angel Whis. Okay. Since Ultra Instinct is an ultimate technique owned by Dragon Ball's angels. That part is true. It's the domain of the angels, whilst the destroyer powers is Beerus. Beerus isn't good with Ultra Instinct because that's not really his jam. I want to go sploody, not go, ooh, stinky, because I find it stinky. And the whole idea that Bardock met Whis would have said something. Whis would have said something to Goku at that point. It's like, oh, that reminds me of the time I met your father. He was showing similar instincts to this, or, oh, your father could do this, so I know that you can. This would have been brought up, and then Goku would have gone, my father? You met him? And then, oh yes, I met him this one time. That would have come up in the conversation, but no, it hasn't. He's been around for millions of years, probably since the beginning of time, since the Universe 7 was created. He was going to know if he met Bardock. There's a lot of things that Whis knows that he hasn't told us. That's why. It's deliberate. He's kept himself deliberately mysterious because the writers can. That means they can wish in any power that they want, so nobody questions it. It's genius, I know. But that doesn't explain why Whis doesn't recognize Goku. So it sort of just goes against his own thoughts. So it's almost like he's thinking in his head, the writer, and thinking, well, okay, it could have happened, but maybe it might not have happened. This is not something you'd want to type down. But that doesn't explain why Whis doesn't recognize Goku when the angels first meets him, since Bardock and his son are almost identical. Well, they are practically identical. One's just tanned. An even more unbelievable and ridiculous theory if that's even possible, is that Bardock actually somehow came into contact with another angel from another universe. I'm sorry, this is not where you're supposed to be, like, putting this. This is meant to be a proper article. If you were going to just be thinking, hey, strange theory, or what if, that's okay, because it's not meant to be, oh, it's confirmed that Bardock had Ultra Instinct, or it's implied that he did. This is not where you're supposed to write this, chum. So, it's a theory. Bardock came into contact with another angel. Angels don't really traverse universes, honestly. And even if they do, it's for important business. It's not to go and have a joyride across other realities and go, oh, that fighter looks really nice, I'll just go and play with them. And besides, Bardock's power level was like 10,000. Surely if they were going to be interested in power, they would have gone for Frieza. In fact, they did. Beerus and Frieza interacted all the time, because at the time, Frieza was the strongest mortal ever to have existed. And even then they didn't like each other. So, Bardock? Why Bardock? Of course, this latter possibility has more merit when considering that when mangaka Akira Toriyama could canonize a version of the manga one-shot episode of Bardock, when Goku's father is seemingly transported into the past after planet Vegeta's destruction. Episode of Bardock. It was a side story, not written by Toriyama, folks. He doesn't really know much about it. It was written and illustrated by Nano Oishii. Completely different people. Toriyama would not have been aware of it. He wrote Dragon Ball Minus as a little supplemental to Jocko the Galactic Patrolman, a project that he actually really liked to do. That's why he was inspired. But in 2011, 2010, Toriyama was really kind of distancing himself from Dragon Ball, especially after the malady that was Dragon Ball Evolution. He felt pretty jaded and he was really, really quiet. It's only now that he's starting to get back and inspired and fired up again about Dragon Ball, especially after Superhero. So, really, to include elements of episode of Bardock? No. The events in the Dragon Ball Super manga where Bardock first battles Gas and transforms clearly take place before planet Vegeta is destroyed, disproving that theory. So already he kind of, disproves the theory. At least he doesn't go along with it. But it's just like, you can't really throw up these theories and then take them away again. Regardless, Bardock couldn't have just learned Ultra Instinct on his own without the help of an angel like Whis. Even more to the point, what Goku unlocks in Chapter 85 of Dragon Ball Super is an alternative form of Ultra Instinct, meaning that Bardock would have had to first master Ultra Instinct and then upgrade it. Nonetheless, the possibility that Goku could have somehow inherited his father's power is intriguing. One that fans have been speculating about ever since he first appeared in the official manga. It's just highly improbable that both Goku and Bardock learned Ultra Instinct. Or is it? No, it's not. These kind of articles throw up these implications and then don't even go along with it. That's the problem. You can't just deposit this theory and then go, oh, actually, no, it's completely worthless, or it's not going to have happened. But it might. It's either it does or it doesn't. And really, it doesn't. The whole point of that Bardock gas fight was that at the time, powers of about 10,000 were genuinely impressive, and Gas had not fought anyone as close to Bardock in terms of power. Gas was used to winning, and the fact that Bardock was stopping him from winning made him intriguing. But then Gas just went off for 40 years, put it out of his mind, and never fought anyone of a similar power until he met Granola, Goku, and is now having a bit of a tantrum because nothing's going his way. That's the whole point. The idea that Bardock gained a power just to fight Gas is just absurd. It's not really the case. The only thing that Bardock did was just push through the natural barriers and limits of his own mind to tap into his Saiyan pride, because he wanted to win. And he was going to win no matter what, even if it cost him his life. Victory. Victory was key. That's what drives a Saiyan. Other powers, Ultra Instinct, no. This isn't news. This is not news. This is an editorial. This is like implying this is a theory. You do not make this news, because people are going to, like me, read this and get annoyed by it. So this is just a message to you fine folks. Be careful where you get your news and come to your own conclusions. Bardock did not attain Ultra Instinct. I'm sorry. I just had to get my thoughts out there because this really, really got under my skin. I fell for it, but just stop, please. Or at least just make it an editorial. Or at least just stick to your convictions instead of just going like, well, maybe this was a thing. Oh, but then maybe it's not a thing. But then again, it's this. And it's meant to be news. You don't do this kind of thing with meant to be news about Dragon Ball Super. This is, again, an opinion piece. Nothing more. I've just given my opinion, folks. But do let me know what you think in the comments. And yeah, I probably won't be doing one of these again unless it really gets stuck under my craw, because I know that this is really something I'm not supposed to take seriously, and you really shouldn't take this seriously. Screenrant really needs to clean up its act, but it won't. It needs them clicks. Anyway, folks, I hope you're doing really well. I hope to see you again very soon, and I shall see you again in the next video. Catch you later!